Welcome back to the channel, tennis fans, and brace yourselves, because we are kicking things off today with a breaking story that has completely blindsided the sporting world. A monumental scheduling decision has just been handed down by the All England Lawn Tennis Club, and it is sending absolute shockwaves through the locker rooms, the press boxes, and the international fan base. The organizers at Wimbledon have just announced their show court schedule for the opening rounds, and they have made a choice that absolutely nobody, and I mean nobody, saw coming. In an unprecedented move that is breaking decades of rigid tradition, 21-year-old Filipina phenom Alex Eala has been selected to play her opening match on the most hallowed ground in all sports, center court. Yes, you heard that correctly. Not court 1, not court 2, but the iconic center court. The very same pristine grass where legends like Serena Williams, Roger Federer, Martina Navratilova, and Pete Sampras cemented their immortal legacies. And here's the kicker that has everyone talking. Wimbledon organizers have chosen to put Eala on this prestigious stage over a slew of much bigger, far more established names in the sport. We're talking about multi-time Grand Slam champions, former world number ones, and perennial top 10 fixtures who have unceremoniously been bumped to the outer courts to make way for the rising star from the Philippines. This is a massive, audacious statement by the All England Club. It is a decision that has instantly sparked fierce, polarizing debate across the tennis community. Is this a brilliant, forward-thinking marketing move to capitalize on her explosive rise and her massive, deeply passionate global fan base? Or is it a perceived slight to the grizzled veterans who have paid their dues over a decade and expect prime billing at the world's most prestigious tournament? Today, we are going to dive deep into this absolute bombshell of an announcement. We will break down exactly why Wimbledon made this shocking call, analyze Eala's sensational, jaw-dropping grass court season that virtually forced the committee's hand, and look at the massive implications this scheduling earthquake has not just for her young career, but for the shifting global landscape of tennis. Strap in, because the pristine lawns of SW19 are already delivering maximum drama before a single ball has even been struck. Let's get straight into it. To truly understand the magnitude of what Wimbledon has just done, we first had to take a step back and look at the immense weight, history, and exclusivity of center court. In the world of tennis, there are show courts, and then there is center court at Wimbledon. It is the undisputed cathedral of the sport. It is a venue steeped in over a century of tradition, guarded fiercely by the All England Club. Historically, the scheduling for center court follows a very strict, almost unspoken hierarchy. The defending champions traditionally open play on Monday and Tuesday. Following them, you typically see the current world number ones, the British hometown darlings, and the legendary figures who have earned the right to step onto that grass through years of Grand Slam triumphs. It is an exclusive club. If you do not have a Wimbledon trophy, a top 5 ranking, or a British passport, your chances of playing on center court in the early rounds are historically microscopic. You are sent out to court number 3, or court number 12, to battle it out in front of a few hundred wandering spectators. But today, the All England Club threw that unspoken rulebook completely out the window by selecting 21-year-old Alex Eala, currently ranked inside the top 30 and holding the 29th seed. They have bypassed several established Grand Slam champions and top-tier veterans. The reaction from the tennis establishment has been a mixture of outright shock, quiet resentment from certain player camps, and absolute jubilation from Eala supporters. The whispers in the corridors of the All England Club are deafening. Representatives for seasoned players are reportedly baffled, wondering how a young player who is only making her second main draw appearance at Wimbledon has leapfrogged them for the most coveted time slot in tennis broadcasting. The veterans feel slighted. They feel that center court is something you earn through years of major semifinals and finals, not something you are handed after one incredibly hot month on the grass. But to dismiss this decision as mere favoritism or a desperate grab for television ratings will be doing a massive disservice to the sheer quality of tennis Alex Eala has produced over the last few weeks. To understand Wimbledon's justification, we have to look at the absolute tear Eala has been on during this 2026 grass court swing. She has not just been playing well. She has been an absolute revelation, transforming into one of the most dangerous, lethal competitors on this specific surface. Let us rewind just a bit to the start of June. Eala arrived at the Birmingham Classic, a WTA tournament known for serving as a premier warm-up for Wimbledon. The grass is a notoriously difficult surface to master. It requires a low center of gravity, incredibly quick reflexes, and an ability to handle unpredictable, skidding bounces. Many young players take years to find their footing on the lawns, but Eala looked like she had been playing on grass her entire life. She carved the draw in Birmingham, displaying a breathtaking level of aggression and tactical maturity. She didn't just win matches, she dismantled her opponents. She captured her maiden grass court title there, putting the locker room on notice. But if Birmingham was a warning shot, the Berlin Tennis Open was the absolute explosion. Berlin is a WTA 500 event, packed with the elite of the elite. It is where the top players go to fine-tune their games before heading to London. And it was in Berlin that Eala proved she is no longer just a rising star. She is a present-day threat to the tennis hierarchy. In a run that left analysts speechless, Eala took out not one, but two of the most formidable grass court players of this generation. First, she faced off against former Wimbledon champion Elena Rybakina. Rybakina, with her towering serve and blistering flat ground strokes, is widely considered a nightmare draw on grass. But Eala stepped up to the baseline and played fearless tennis. Utilizing her incredibly tricky left-handed serve, Eala was able to slide the ball out wide, pulling Rybakina off the court and opening up the down-the-line passing lanes. Eala won that match, proving she could hang with the heavy hitters. But she wasn't done. She then faced Ukrainian veteran and former Wimbledon semifinalist Elena Svitolina. Once again, Eala showcased her phenomenal court coverage, her ability to absorb pace, and her lethal forehand, securing another massive victory. Although her incredible run in Berlin eventually ended in the semifinals against Linda Noskova, the message was sent loudly and clearly to the entire tennis world. Eala is a legitimate, undeniable contender on grass. This meteoric rise brings us directly to the tactical reasons why her game translates so beautifully to the Wimbledon lawns. Former British number one Greg Ruzetsky recently broke this down on his podcast, and his insights are absolutely crucial here. Ruzetsky pointed out that Eala's left-handedness is a massive, inherent advantage on grass. The slice serve from a lefty on a slick grass court behaves incredibly maliciously. It stays low, it bites into the turf, and it slides away from the right-handed opponent's backhand, making it exceptionally difficult to return with any sort of aggressive depth. Furthermore, Eala does not hit with excessive, looping topspin like many players who grew up on clay. She hits the ball relatively flat, taking it early on the rise. On a clay court or a slow hard court, the ball sits up, giving the opponent time to react. But on grass, Eala's flat shots penetrate through the court. The ball skids and stays under the opponent's strike zone, forcing it to hit upwards and essentially feed Eala's short balls that she can step in and put away. She is taking time away from her opponents, rushing their preparation and suffocating them from the baseline. Wimbledon organizers are acutely aware of this. They know that Eala is playing a brand of first strike, visually spectacular grass court tennis that translates to absolute box office entertainment. They are not just putting her on center court because of her nationality. They are putting her there because she is currently one of the most electric, compelling players to watch on this surface. However, we cannot ignore the massive, undeniable commercial and demographic factors at play here. Tennis is a global business, and the All England Club is an incredibly savvy organization. Eala is not just a tennis player. She is a cultural phenomenon. As the very first Filipina player to be seated in a Grand Slam singles draw, she is carrying the hopes, dreams, and immense pride of an entire nation on her shoulders. And it is not just the Philippines. She has become a beacon for Southeast Asian tennis as a whole. The demographics of tennis fandom are shifting. While traditional markets in Europe and North America remain strong, the potential for growth in Asia is astronomical. The Filipino fever, as some in the press are calling it, is a very real, tangible force. Whenever and wherever Eala plays, the crowds are massive, loud, and incredibly passionate. The engagement metrics on social media, whenever her name is mentioned, absolutely dwarf those of many top 10 players. By placing Eala on center court, Wimbledon is making a brilliant strategic play. They are guaranteeing a massive television audience across Asia. They are opening up the prestigious tournament to millions of fans who might not typically tune into the early rounds of a tennis major. The time zone difference means that a center court match, which usually takes place in the early afternoon in London, hits primetime evening viewing in the Philippines and across Southeast Asia. The broadcasters know this. The tournament directors know this. By showcasing Eala on their biggest stage, Wimbledon is essentially saying that they recognize the shifting power dynamics of global sports fandom. They are embracing the future, prioritizing global reach in emerging markets over the rigid, sometimes exclusionary traditions of the past. It is a bold move, but from a marketing and growth perspective, it is an absolute masterstroke. But with this massive opportunity comes an equally massive, almost suffocating level of pressure. Playing on center court is an intimidating experience for any player, let alone a 21-year-old who is carrying the weight of a nation. The atmosphere inside that stadium is unlike anything else in sports. It is often described by players as a quiet, intense pressure cooker. There is no loud music during changeovers, no rowdy cheering during points. There is just a polite murmur of the crowd, the sound of the ball striking the strings, and the sheer, overwhelming presence of history bearing down on you. Many incredibly talented players have walked onto center court and completely frozen, unable to find their rhythm, completely paralyzed by the occasion. Can Eala handle the spotlight? That is the million-dollar question that every tennis analyst is currently debating. If we look at her track record, there is reason to be incredibly optimistic. This is a young woman who has been in the international spotlight since she was a junior prodigy at the Rafa Nadal Academy. She is used to high expectations. Furthermore, she actually made her Wimbledon main draw debut last year, in 2025. In that tournament, she drew the defending champion, Barbara Krejcikova, in the very first round. It was a brutal, incredibly unlucky draw, but Eala did not fold. In fact, she came out swinging, stunning the champion and the crowd by winning the first set, before eventually succumbing to Krejcikova's experience in 3 sets. That match proved that Eala is not afraid of the big stage, and she is not intimidated by playing against the absolute best in the world. She has tasted the Wimbledon grass. She has felt the atmosphere, and she knows what it takes to compete at that level. But opening a tournament on center court as the scheduled main attraction is a completely different beast than being the underdog challenger. The cameras will be focused entirely on her. The global media will be dissecting her every shot, her every facial expression. The mental fortitude required to block out that noise, to focus solely on the yellow fuzzy ball coming over the net, is immense. This match will be the ultimate litmus test for her psychological resilience. This scheduling decision also sets a fascinating precedent for the rest of the tournament and the future of the sport. If Eala goes out onto center court and plays nervous, tight tennis, if she is blown off the court in straight sets, the critics of this decision will be ruthless. The veterans who were bumped to the outer courts will feel entirely vindicated, and the All-England club will face intense scrutiny for prioritizing hype over proven major pedigree. Pundits will argue that the tournament organizers placed unfair, detrimental pressure on a young player purely for television ratings. But imagine the alternative. Imagine if Eala walks out onto that pristine grass and plays the way she did in Birmingham and Berlin. Imagine her slicing serves out wide, cracking unreturnable forehands down the line, and riding the wave of an electric, highly engaged crowd to a spectacular victory. If she delivers a masterclass performance on the sport's biggest stage, it will instantly catapult her from a rising star to a global sporting icon. It will validate every single ounce of hype surrounding her, and it will completely justify Wimbledon's bold decision. It would signal a true change of the guard, a definitive announcement that the next generation is not just waiting in the wings. They have arrived, and they are demanding the main stage. The ramifications of this single scheduling choice echo far beyond the confines of SW19. We are witnessing a pivotal moment in the modernization of tennis. For decades, tennis has struggled with elitism and a heavy reliance on a small, concentrated group of superstars. As legends like Federer and Serena have stepped away from the game, the sport has been desperately searching for new faces, new narratives, and new markets to sustain its growth. Eala represents the perfect storm. She possesses a highly aesthetic, lethal game that is tailor-made for the most prestigious surface in tennis. She possesses a quiet, focused charisma, and she has the unwavering backing of a massive, tennis-hungry region of the world. Wimbledon has looked at this combination and decided to push all their chips to the center of the table. They are betting that Eala is the future, and they want to be the ones to provide her the ultimate launching pad. As we look ahead to her opening match, the tactical matchups will be intensely scrutinized. Eala will need to rely heavily on her first serve percentage. On center court, where the grass is fresh and slick on day one, free points on serve are absolutely vital. She cannot afford to get bogged down in long, grueling baseline rallies if she can avoid it. She needs to strike first, utilize her lefty slice to pull her opponent wide, and look to transition to the net to finish points quickly. Her footwork, which has been impeccable over the last month, will need to be razor sharp. But more than anything, her mindset will dictate the outcome. She has to view center court not as an intimidating museum of past greatness, but as her personal stage, a place where she fully belongs. The other players in the locker room will be watching closely. The top seeds, the defending champions, they will all have one eye on the television monitors in the players' lounge. A deep run by Eala is no longer a hypothetical scenario. It is a very real, looming threat to the established order. She has already proven she can beat top-tier talent on grass. With the backing of the center court crowd and the massive momentum she has built, she is a dangerous floater in the draw that absolutely no one wants to face. In conclusion, this is not just a story about a young player getting a good court assignment. This is a story about the intersection of exceptional athletic talent, shifting global demographics, and a historic institution deciding to embrace the future. Wimbledon has sent a shockwave through the tennis world, and the ball is now firmly in Eala's court. She has been given the golden ticket. She has the game, she has the form, and she has the stage. All that is left to do is play. And there you have it, an incredibly deep dive into the biggest, most controversial scheduling story to hit Wimbledon in years. The All England Club has made their wager. They have bypassed the traditional hierarchy, looked past the grizzled veterans, and handed the keys to center court to 21-year-old Filipina sensation Eala. It is a decision that speaks volumes about her jaw-dropping form on the grass, her undeniable potential, and the massive, shifting tectonic plates of global tennis fandom. She has conquered Birmingham. She has stunned the elites in Berlin, and now she faces the ultimate test under the brightest, most unforgiving spotlight in the sport. Now, I want to turn it over to you, the viewers. What do you make of this massive, unprecedented decision by Wimbledon? Do you believe the All England Club made the absolutely right call in showcasing one of the hottest, most exciting players on tour right now? Do you think her phenomenal victories over players like Rybakina and Svitolina entirely justify her placement on center court? Or do you side with the critics and the veterans who argue that prime billing at Wimbledon is something that must be earned through years of deep runs at the majors, rather than a few successful weeks in warm-up tournaments? Furthermore, how do you think Eala will handle the immense, suffocating pressure of opening on center court with the weight of an entire nation, and indeed an entire region on her shoulders? Will she rise to the occasion and deliver a signature, star-making performance, or will the magnitude of the moment prove to be too much for the young star? Get down in the comments section right now and let your voice be heard. I read as many comments as I possibly can, and I know this is going to be a fiercely debated topic. If you enjoyed this incredibly detailed, comprehensive breakdown of the biggest news in tennis, please do me a massive favor. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell, so you never miss a single deep dive analysis from us here on the channel. The 2026 Wimbledon Championships are shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable, thrilling, and historic tournaments in recent memory, and we will be here every single step of the way to break down all the action, the drama, and the upsets. Until next time, enjoy the incredible tennis. Keep your eyes on center court, and I will see you all in the next video.